Hello and welcome to Instablog's Global Report. This is Sukhmani with fresh updates and more citizen voices from all over the world. Stories for the day are: Afghan security personnel connect last week's Kabul bombings to Lashkar-e Taiba. Palestinians began construction of an all-Palestinian settlement named Al-Rawabi. And Gambian court restores traditional land to minority Endorois community. Afghan security personnel have yielded evidence of open terror launched by notorious Lashkar-e Taiba against Indians living and working in Kabul. CJ Kramuddin Behram has more on the story from Kabul in Afghanistan.
This is Kramuddin Behram on Instablogs.com. The initial investigation into the terror attacks that jolted Kabuls Indian Guest House Friday has brought to light evidences linking Pakistan-based Lashkar-e Taiba to the attack. At least 16 people, including 9 Indians, were killed Friday in a string of explosions and gunfire in the Commercial Zone of Kabul. Said Ansari, a spokesman for Afghanistan's National Directorate of Security, said, "We are very close to the exact proof and evidence that the attack on the Indian Guest House is not the work of Afghan Taliban, but this attack was carried out by Lashkar-e Taiba network." The Afghan intelligence agency's spokesman said Lashkar-e Taiba are dependent on the Pakistani military. He further said there were 4 men armed with rifles and suicide vests. One of them was heard speaking Urdu, and that they wore burqas to hide their gear.
In spite of hurdles created by the Israeli government, Palestinians have started building an exclusively Palestinian settlement called Al-Rawabi to the north of Ramallah in the West Bank. CJ Wadibu Zurek has more on the details of the project.
Ironically enough, some have called the new construction project being built in Al-Rawabi north of Ramallah on the West Bank as the first Palestinian settlement, to actually be the first legal settlement in an area filled with illegal Israeli settlements. The new project is supposed to house more than 40,000 people once it is finished after an expected period of 5 years. Most of the $700 million needed for the project were invested by the Qatari government. In spite of hurdles created by the Israeli government regarding permission for the new city road, Palestinians have started building the city, with the hope that it will be a place to live in with higher standards than ones allowed by the Israeli government.
A Gambian court has faulted the government over wrongful eviction of the members of Endorois community from their land and demanded complete compensation and the restoration of the pastoral community to its land. A CJ from Kenya, Rose Wangui, says the court's decision has brought smile over the faces of the community.
This is Rose Wangui, a citizen journalist from Kenya, reporting on Instablogs. Endorois is a minority community in Kenya, and most people would not have known its existence until recently, when it hit headlines after winning a case in which the government was ordered to compensate it for taking its land. The ruling gave the community a reprieve after years of solitary and oppression after the government dispossessed the community of their land in Mochongoi Forest and the area surrounding Lake Bogoria to pave way for a game reserve. And to date, members of Endorois have not received adequate compensation for this eviction, nor have they benefited from the proceeds of the reserve. The ruling, made in Banjul, Gambia early this month, faulted the government for evicting the community from their traditional land and ordered it to compensate and restore the pastoral community to its land. The ruling opened a new chapter in Kenya and Africa at large, since more cases are expected to come up. For instance, we have the Sengwer, Ogiek and some coastal communities who feel aggrieved by historical injustices that saw their land taken away. The Ilchamus have also argued that they are an indigenous minority with a right to representation in parliament.
If you want your voice to be heard by millions, let Instablogs be your choice. You can contact us at cj@instablogs.com. That's all for today's show. We'll be back with fresh updates and more citizen voices. Till then, it's goodbye from the entire team of Global Report.